Welcome to Calling the Audible. I am Peeze. You are listening to or perhaps watching us on a variety of platforms.
Perhaps.
One of them is Facebook Live, where you'll be seeing us and seeing us live. If you do see us live.
You're not Mokan.
If you do see us live, I am not Mokan. That's an astute observation, Simon.
You can also hear that.
Perhaps
you're
if you
not
saw
Mokan.
which people were on your team and which weren't, you'd throw less interceptions.
Possibly.
But,
that might be the problem.
Yeah. But if you don't watch on Facebook Live, you've probably downloaded the podcast. If not, I don't know how you're hearing this information, so I don't know why I'm reviewing the platforms.
YouTube.
But I will tell you. Okay. If you're watching on YouTube, if you download the podcast, if you're watching Facebook Live, and your teammates don't know we exist, they're idiots. So tell them about us and make them more intelligent. I am joined by GM Calethris.
Who does not call you idiots?
He does. Mr. Collect your ass. No, they're watching, so they're not idiots.
It's true.
The ones who aren't watching are idiots.
Gotcha.
So we can call them idiots because they'll never know. So hopefully they won't watch.
Because by the time
previous
they watch it,
episodes.
they're not idiots
exactly,
anymore.
Exactly.
It's clever piece.
You see? I'm always thinking. Simon Dajne, who's never thinking.
Never. Last time I think about something, I died.
Think. Yeah. And to be fair though, Simo, he's under the weather. He's toughing through it. Although, if you're sick, you shouldn't be here because that's how.
That's not what you told me this morning.
That's how zombies start.
That's not what you told me this
I
morning.
thought you were faking it.
You gave me so much shit at 10
I
a.m.
thought you were faking it like Sophie on a Thursday night. And Eagle, the Master Control, of course, is doing all the wonderful production work. So if you want to tweet the show live, you can tweet him at EagleFPF. Or, like I said, you can message us directly on Facebook Live. We will put it up on the screen, and we will read everything.
Has anyone messaged in the last little while?
We've had a few people, but it's more like, hey, did you guys start Div 4? So, yes, we have now started.
Thank you. Eagle.
You get what you wanted.
Question, yes.
Awesome insight.
And of course, if they want to follow GM Collectors, you can follow him at GMCole44. If you want to follow Simon Dash.
I have one FPF related tweet in the last year.
I
have one tweet in the last year, so
I
I'm
have a
batting
few.
100.
I have a few. Usually they're ridiculous. So the more ridiculous you are, like so Mathieu Hill, for example, plays for Alpha Tees. He based
Wait,
on
who? Flag Jesus?
Fly Jesus, absolutely. He took our name, Fly Jesus, that we gave him during the finals and subsequent podcasts, and his jersey now represents Fly Jesus.
That's cool.
And so he sent me a picture, and I instantly posted that on Twitter. Also, Mokan got me Cookie Crisp last week.
Yeah, it's cheat cereal.
And I put that cereal on the Twitter this week. Absolutely.
Mine didn't last that long.
Really? I've had one bowl. It's so sweet. I couldn't even get through the whole bowl. I shared it with Natalia.
I didn't have.
Forgot. I can't eat that much.
Yeah,
sugar
but
anymore.
I had Reese's Puffs though, which is
Yeah.
the superior cereal.
That's debatable.
That's superior.
And of course, Simon, where can people find
Hi.
you other than stalking your bushes in front of your home?
Twitter.
But no, I prefer the bushes. Where on Twitter can they
prefer
find
the
you if they do not prefer the bushes?
Dajne FPF. I'm a company man.
Absolutely.
Unlike Jim here.
So, Division 4. GM, you actually saw things.
I did.
Yay! Tell us about the things you saw.
I guess enjoyed isn't really the right word, but it was an enjoyable watch to see friends in low places manhandle backyard bullies.
Mm-hmm. Is manhandle now a sexist term? Eagle, can you look it up?
For sure.
I don't think terms work that way.
Well, I need to know.
Wait, you're going to have manslaughter, now it's person slaughter?
Oh, interesting.
Or man or woman handle. It's also man or woman slaughter. Person slaughter's not bad though.
Woman handle? Woman handle is.
It sounds worse. That's what Harvey
That
Weinstein
sounds
was doing. Go ahead. Sorry, tell us about the woman handle.
I think it had to do partially with Scott McDonald at the quarterback position, not really approaching it like just trying to continue to chuck it deep, not understanding the flag concepts as well as sort of tackle and full field football concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also from just looking at friends in low places, I don't think to him they really passed the eye test, and he thought that he was going to do a lot better against them than he ended up doing.
That happens often.
Yeah,
that happens often.
I guess it's kind of weird to have like as a quarterback, and especially someone who's played against like pro caliber athletes. Like you see yourself matching up against guys in like sweaty heather gray cotton t-shirts and soccer cleats, and you throw up a pass that you think is just gonna like go for 40 yards, and Danny Demore comes out of nowhere and just like picks it off and runs it back.
Yeah, Danny Demore is the most deceptive athlete in FPF in
Oh, yeah.
perhaps FPF history.
All you have to do is stand next to him and
Actually-
and smell like the tobacco and alcohol.
Yeah.
And just like, wait, how are you good?
For opposite reasons, him and Junior Luke are the two most deceptive athletes in FPF history. I saw Fly Jesus have a 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
Big win for Alpha Tees. Jesse Dupree looked unhappy about having lost a single game as a quarterback for Alpha Tees.
And came out swinging.
And got ham, got nothing
I mean,
else.
the record's done.
What?
The record's done.
Yes. I mean, he can start a new record, though.
I guess, but it's not
Yeah.
the same.
I mean,
It's gonna take him like 3 seasons to get back in stride.
yes.
It's
Constructive, Simon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Relevant.
So the cold mirror medication's wearing off, huh?
Yes. I warned you about this.
Chris Rivera continues to struggle. I don't get it. He always was a guy who's a middle pack quarterback, but like surrounded with the right cast can do damage. 4 interceptions. That's not like his MO necessarily. He's not a guy who turns the ball over a ton. What do you think's going on there?
Is it possible that this was just like this team mathematically is just a little bit too under what we're expecting of a 4A team? Like if there was a cutoff between 4A and 4B, I feel like they would be right on that cusp and would be doing not so conceivably poorly in 4B. There's no real, you said it, there's no real game breaker that you see on this roster that you think like, oh, this is the guy that Rive can feed the ball to,
Well,
like
they have
a sort of
Isaiah
an
Allard.
Alex Godet or even Justin Sarantola of seasons past.
They have Isaiah Allard, who's like a Div 1 receiver and DB.
So
You could lean onto him for like 20 passes a
Has
game.
he been?
No, but you could.
I mean, I don't.
He has
I
that
don't
break-
think that ever works though.
He has that breakout star that you could rely on, but
I mean,
it's not the way he plays. Like it's not his offense.
Do you have anything else you saw, Simon?
Jared Taylor's playing really well so far for top season.
It's confusing though because
I
the
agree with
way
you, it's
he's
confusing.
actually playing and the numbers don't add up.
His numbers look better than it
Yes.
actually does look,
Yeah.
which is very weird. But just looking at the numbers, he's playing good enough. Like they lost by a point to Brocasian. Brocasian's a decent team. Christian Sarantola at 120 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing.
Mhm.
Ridiculous. I mean, at some point, somebody's got to rush him properly and just contain him.
Well, they were struggling, and now Christian's gone back to what works for him, and they're bringing out wins.
Yeah, but I mean, if you rush for 120 yards, the defense has to pick it up at some point.
It's like you imagine someone who uses a microphone every week to know how it works.
Yes.
But Jim Kalethris can
Oh,
just
there
turn his
you,
face
there you
away
go.
from a
That's
microphone.
your answer right there. That's the best counterpoint.
And continuing to rag on GM, Mark Belvedere seemed unhappy with our analysis of Mark Belvedere, and BD Bandits handed to LOB
Man.
37-25.
That was a good game
6 touchdowns.
for them, not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, GM feels opposite than how you feel.
It's
Fairly clean game by Lonnie Johnson, just not finishing drives, perhaps.
it's the opposite actually. And you would ask what the problem with LOB was. I think last week or
I did.
every week. And I'm starting to figure it out. Is that LOB are a second half team, and the way if LOB played the entire game against BD Bandits the way they played the second half against BD Bandits, they would have won.
Well, you saw it, like 19 points as opposed to 6 in the first
Yeah.
half. You know, it's
So it's hard when you start down 18-0 or 12-0 and have to battle back behind the 8 ball. Steve Sanner played a great game. There were plays where he came out of nowhere to defend against François Delaurier against.
I am François Delaurier.
Yeah.
It's true.
Even that's a 2-year-old dated reference now. Man, we're old.
Yeah, it's happening faster.
Yeah. So I think honestly is that BD Bandits are just the more consistent team. There were also I rushed Mark Belvedere for the bulk of that game. Actually, Eagle, can you bring up the rushing stats for Mark Belvedere because of the face that Peeze gave me?
I just don't want to see it as being a good matchup for you. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I don't.
So what ended up happening?
No offense, man. I'm not
No,
ragging you.
Mark Belvedere didn't run at all.
Okay.
doesn't
Is
run
that he would?
But he buys time in the pocket.
Yeah, he was
a lot.
buying time in the pocket. And he would back up, and then he would throw up a contested ball that LOB defenders should have gotten to, and every time it was just a BD Bandit receiver who came down with it.
Eagle, can you put this on the scroll? Jim Kalethris claims he's the best defender on LOB. Thank you.
Hey,
No rushing yards in that game.
So
Lonnie Johnson had more rushing yards than Mark Belvedere.
what do you say?
Yeah, but that,
Put this on the
2
scroll.
yards.
Jim Calethris thinks Lonnie Johnson's not a good athlete. I want to do this all show.
you should. It's great.
Misquoting
But
my
all
my showmates.
That just
Show
all that to say is that like, BD Bandits made the plays.
Yeah.
That's LB need to make plays.
A team who's not made plays all season is Grabouge. They've been hot Grabouge all season. 34-7. 34-7. What the hell is Grabouge anyway?
It's a grabuge. You know what it is?
No. It's dumb.
Be Frencher.
Okay. So 34-7 against Tone It Down. It's kind of what we expected. It's kind of fun to see
Is
Marvin
it though?
Golden quarterback, to be honest. Like it's a bit of an older name in FPF and
Yep.
kind of giving himself a rebirth at the quarterback position. Nice to see, and good to see him get the win. That's about the only thing positive I can say. And I'll just talk about Tone It Down for that reason. You guys see anything in 4B?
Can we talk about last game
Yes.
before? Can we talk about Jaguars' big win over Jägerbomb?
Sure.
Like we've talked about Jägerbomb a little bit in the show, saying they're usually off to a slow start and they get catch fire around the playoffs. This season has been the other way around. Jägerbomb has been playing well, but Jaguars are that kind of team that we don't really talk about. They were a Division 5 team that was good,
Well,
but
because
not
they looked bad
dominant.
to start. They didn't
Yes.
look great to start the season.
But that was a dominant win over Jägerbomb.
So you're still
I'm
you're still in 4A when we're talking about 4B.
Yeah, that's why I said one last team before, and they said okay, go, and then
Okay. Well, to be honest, I can see the Jaguars as the type of team that can upset anyone on a given week. I don't know if it's sustainable throughout the season, but they're the type of team where you'll take them lightly and you'll lose the game. And
but
that's
that's
what I think we
like
saw.
32-12 is a dominant performance.
Yeah, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got this. This is an easy game. Nope, not an easy game. I was there for Norfolk and Chance against Sphinx.
Okay.
Norfolk and Chance asked me if I'll ever pick them. I said no, I will not. And it's working for them.
Who
So
yeah.
why do you want me
Who
to?
asked you specifically?
It was Akeem Hoyt Charles was displeased with all my analysis,
Yeah.
as he always is. And who else was there?
But I feel like a question
Bobby
like that
Spaghettis-
from
And
Kevin
Kevin Kusai.
Peeze, why you hate us? Why do you hate
Yeah.
us?
Kevin Kusai asked if he's ever going to pick me. He then asked if I needed, if I'm going to need 2 red belts soon, and then I said it's because I'm following the Kevin Kusai meal plan. So that said, it was,
I like that burn though one, like from him.
No, it was good.
To
It's fine.
Red Belt, yeah.
but it's the same one every time. So I gave it some light because I'm like maybe
It's
he'll
old.
stop.
He works with what you give him.
Yeah, I guess, which is my gut. Who's the snapper on Sphinx? I can't remember his name.
Matt Fafau.
That's it. Matt Favre suffered an injury. It looked bad. He was helped off the field. I hope he's okay.
That sucks.
That's tough because that offense like literally runs through Matt Fafau, not just from like touching the ball every play, but he's been like their lead receiver throughout the dynasty of Sphinx,
Yeah.
basically.
That's a long time.
Yes.
That's like going back to
Ancient
Egyptian
Egypt.
times.
Yeah, since Winter 10.
Ancient Egyptian times, so to speak.
Cool.
The ancient Egyptian time of
FPF.
FPF.
It was Winter 10.
When stats were taken in hieroglyphs. Simon, did you see anything?
Well, we touched upon that one team that we take lightly and makes a lot of plays in the Red Tiger. They beat All Looks this week.
Mm-hmm.
Like last week,
was
the Red
yesterday.
Tiger looked terrible, scoring 6 points, and this week they put up 30 against All Looks.
Yeah, but previous to that, they were undefeated, and we thought Red Tiger were one of the best teams in the division.
yeah, but I think this.
You're so much recency bias, it's ridiculous. You forget things you said 2 weeks ago.
I don't even know what I did yesterday.
It's clear. Like, dude, you need to get checked for like post-concussion syndrome at all times. You're the,
Once a
They
week.
should study your brain, and the NFL Players Association will make huge gains on the NFL
Once a week.
based on the brokenness of your brain. GM, sorry about that. I guess one of us went on the rant.
So that game yesterday, I think it's more that the Red Tiger will play up or play down to their competition accordingly.
Fair. So that's kind of what we saw.
Another thing I noticed this week after talking to some of the guys from Pastor Prime is that the blue chip quarterback is unstoppable. And I mean, like coming from the contrast of who Pastor Prime players are, trying to rush Jordan Mitchell,
Yeah,
I could have seen it coming,
Yeah.
but the reaction was flawless. Like the Aggie came up to me, he's like, So this guy, he's like the quickest guy I've ever
Aggie
seen.
is Angelo Kilodopoulos for those listening.
And he turned out to me, he's like,
Simo,
are unfamiliar to nicknames.
again, we just discussed your inability for your brain to function, but we've said, and Rob, your boss, has said every week, you
true.
need to say players' full names because people, A, don't watch every week, B, people don't know what you're talking about, C, you're not friends with these people, they don't like you,
I don't have friends.
they hate you,
I don't have
they
friends.
complain about you being on
Nobody
first name
complains
basis with
about
them
me.
all the time.
Nobody complains. 'Cause nobody talks
Please
to me.
use the full name,
Cool.
Angelo Kilodopoulos. Aggie Kilodopoulos. That would have worked fine too.
That would have worked.
Or Angelo Aggie Kilodopoulos. All these are fine options. You chose none of them.
Cool.
Thank you, Eagle.
Really? We're going there.
Yes. Every time. From now on, when he just says, you're looking for this. Every time he
You won't-
says just
you know
one
won't do
name.
that.
Yo, he's doing it.
He's not paying enough attention for that.
Pin that button to most used because it's gonna get you.
I'm gonna shortcut it on my keyboard.
So, continue.
No, that was it. You had no reasons to cut me off. The whole thing was finished.
What did Aggie tell you?
I finished that sentence earlier.
And that's all
Is
he
that
said.
they were surprised
Yes.
at how much he would.
They were
roll
surprised
out.
at how fast he is
I
fast.
spoke to Angelo Kilodopoulos before
you.
the game
Well done.
as well, and I said, look, like this is what you should expect. Think of a way to beat it. The only way you will win is by being smarter. And it's even then, like I
It's,
know
an uphill battle.
Cullen Burrell rushing. He's a smart rusher, but against someone like Jordan Mitchell, it's very difficult.
So, what I would suggest in future games for anyone playing them, get your fastest guy,
Yep.
rush, have him rush early, because he tends not to rush if he's been stopped a couple times. So if you can't stop him on the first two runs, you might not see another run rest of the game, and then that's how you beat blue chips.
Could you also use two rushers at all times?
No, you're gonna get torched.
Yes.
You're gonna get torched.
No, but considering the fact that most of the plays he buys time in the pocket and then
Yeah, but
throws
if he,
the
all he needs,
jump
don't
ball?
forget, he doesn't need to beat
So
two
what
guys.
you're saying is that by that logic, if you give him one less defender defending against his receivers, it's gonna
and again,
make him worse.
He just needs to beat
No,
one of those
what I'm saying
rushers.
is-
He just
Yes,
needs to beat.
okay.
So he beats one of those rushers, and then you have one less tackler
But-
and one less person
but
defending receivers.
if you're rushing two, you shouldn't be able to beat one of the rushers.
he might.
Or you can rush one and play contain rather than chase the sack.
So this comes down to theory versus practice.
Okay.
Practice.
In
What
theory,
is practice?
if you know that Jordan Mitchell's going to run every second play, you should be able to stop it.
No, but he
in practice,
doesn't run.
you
though.
still have to stop it.
Yeah, but he doesn't run though. Like he buys time forever and then he throws. Like he doesn't have a
also
lot of
runs,
rushing
though.
times.
Yeah, but when he does, it's
Yeah, when he does, he goes off for like 100 yards. But if
So
you-
he doesn't do this thing, but when he
if-
does, he does it really well and frequently.
no, but like he never has more than like 4 or 5 rushes per game.
that's a lot.
It's not that much.
If 4 or 5 rushes for
If you-
100 yards,
If you have 25 pass attempts and
Yes.
5 rushes,
Yes, you rush every 6 play.
that's a significant portion. That's almost 20% of your entire game.
It's not that
for
much.
a third of your yardage.
Yes.
Again, it's not that much. That's like once per drive.
Unless
yeah,
it's
but that gets you half the field.
each time.
Okay. You guys are not getting the point.
No.
I don't think there's a point to
There
get.
isn't a point to get. Show me your TDs and backyard bullies. I've gone off to a slow start. Why do you think that is? Backyard bullies have been missing Vinny Galano in 2 games. One game was without Vinny Galano and Rich Humes. So I think it's a roster issue. But do
They
you guys
also outgrew Rich Humes as a quarterback
have? Mhm.
and have had to start again from the beginning there.
I think they were disturbed by how smiley he is at all times.
Rich Humes?
They just didn't like it. They're like, this guy's not mean enough. Let me go back.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what I
Thank
thought.
you for
That's
that.
what I thought. No problem.
It's also isn't the quarterback cap problem?
That-
Isn't that the real issue here?
Yes.
But
That's what Jim was saying.
They have a new
Joke.
quarterback
Look,
and
I
he's
said
just
that.
not. Like,
It's wearing out, eh? Like you're
yes.
getting sicker and sicker
Yes.
as the show goes on.
So the new quarterback's just not used to FPF yet.
And by the new quarterback, you mean Scott McDonald.
Yes.
Eagle, where's that boo?
See, he's not paying attention. So I saw him week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful. Like he was calling plays in the huddle, and you had Rich Humes, Vinny Galano, and Shawnee Ram tell him we're not doing that because it's not working. But their huddles were taking forever because if you're calling a play and then somebody turns around and says no, try something else, it might take a while, right?
Is he better off having Rich Humes and Vinny Galano call the plays in the huddle?
nobody's better off having a receiver called
your
plays for you.
quarterback needs to understand more than anyone else the routes being called. So maybe going over like a set playbook of like knowing where mapping out where each receiver is. And
That's what I'm
then
saying. Like,
having
not
him
necessarily in the huddle, but saying, look, try these 6 plays.
Yeah, give him 3 plays and
Like,
call
he's
these
a
over
smart
and over.
dude, and he's a good athlete, so he should be able to execute what's given to him. And I think Vinny and Rich are smart enough to say these aren't like, okay, these aren't plays necessarily work with my skill set, but these can work with your skill set. So I think that can be interesting. What about SMYTDs?
Oh, we touched
My
on
alma mater.
Yeah.
Alma mater.
Again, if you've
The
been
team I
paying
played for before.
if you've been paying attention to this podcast from start to finish, you'll be a little bit confused because we talk about Mike Adana in Division 6 being the be-all, end-all. And in Division 4, he's kind of struggling due to marriage, apparently, or just having lost a step a little
By
bit.
the way, we're not saying like trouble in marriage. We're saying joyous marriage.
No, yeah, exactly. His marriage is so successful, he's struggling at football because of it.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that happen. It's hard to take FPF as seriously as life gets more serious, I think. And you know, it's a team that has a lot of talent. I don't know if it's the team that's best built to his skill set.
I agree with that.
And so many TDs for the past little while keeps making them. It's the Darksiders' mistake. It's making the team with the best players and not necessarily the best pieces that fit.
I think it's also he just came back from injury.
Yeah,
Mike Adana, he just came back from injury, and
he had a busted up AC joint. I'm using busted up because I don't remember the medical term.
but I think it's a bit of the fact that, you know, when you're afraid to get hurt again and you're trying to do things a bit differently.
I don't think so. It was on his, again, his shoulder, but on his non-throwing shoulder. And he's fine. Like, he's 1,000%.
Okay.
And he's playing defense and offense in Division 6.
But he has regressed as a quarterback since this last season. He looked great, and this season he has not looked.
I think it's a small sample size. I think I'm not willing to say he's regressed when, again, I think it's not the best team for his. I don't think it's a good fit, basically.
Okay.
I think they need to go, like, tear it down. Mike Adana, Daniel Adana, Anthony Adana, Alex David. Figure out what to do from there. Because those are the pieces that work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those, and Eric Conte, like, the core of this team, that's what works. Build around that.
Okay.
At 1-3, can either one make a run for a playoff spot? I think Bullies will.
Yes.
It's
I
gonna
can't-
happen. They're
I
gonna
can't
go
see
off
the
and rattle
Bullies.
off 6 games and
Not even.
Yeah, I think that, like, in this division specifically, 3 wins will get you into the playoffs.
didn't they go like 0-5 and win a championship? last season?
Yes. I think they went 3-5-1.
But they started like winless.
Yeah.
I remember I wrote the mid-season article. I'm like, they're terrible. Quit football.
That was back
Quit
there at
football.
Bruisers.
Pease, we joke about how, you know, Mo's not here today and everything, but we actually did get a question. Where is Mo?
Mo was kidnapped, and he'll hopefully will be returned after we send the wire transfer with his with the money that was offered to the captors.
For anyone willing to donate money, please tweet at PeaceFPF.
Yeah, and it will go directly into my bank account. E-transfer accepted. So,
Who asked that, by the way?
Jean-Félix Marquis.
Okay.
yeah, it's people that don't like me who ask that question. So, can one of these teams make it to the final? And we've seen Bullies do it already, but can that happen again, or is that like a lightning in a bottle type season,
I mean, if
or was it a genie in a bottle kind of
if
season?
either of these teams are the last seed to come into the playoffs, that's a dangerous last seed. Either it's Show Me
Yeah,
TDs or
that's fair.
Bullies.
That's fair.
The roster is very good, very talented, and if you're playing against them defensively, like as a quarterback, I would hate to play against either of these rosters, considering I'm the first seed and they're the last seed. Like
Yeah.
that
Yep.
would shock me. So they could
Could-
make a run.
Yeah, could either of these teams make it to the final? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new season.
The commission have gone seemingly with Chris Olsen.
Yes.
Is this a good decision?
I think so.
I think so too. I'm answering my own question because, again, Mokan wrote the questions.
Mhm.
He's been kidnapped, but prior to his kidnapping, he wrote the script that we're all reading today.
The
So at times
kidnappers
we-
allowed him to.
Yeah, he's like, but I need to write the script, and then
Really? Okay,
due
sure.
to a mutual love for each other, they've allowed him to write the script.
Oh.
It's one of those things, you know, where they're like, okay, we'll put him on the phone so we hear he's alive. We're like, send us his script.
Please, we need it.
And then when we got it and we saw these ridiculous questions, we were like, yep, Mo wrote this.
But we talked about it.
I will
last
say
week.
that Chris Olsen has unfortunately inflated the ego once again of Chapman, our previous producer,
Why?
because he recognized him at his workplace. Like, hey, you're Chapman,
That was
right?
him?
No, it's happened again. This keeps happening. Chapman's fame keeps growing. It's bizarre.
Guys, stop.
Yeah, he doesn't need
I
more ego.
love hearing stories of like people in the league, and specifically Chris Olsen, like recognizing FPF media members
But he's not even on
outside their
camera.
element.
He's not even on camera. How does that happen?
Well, the last person who mentioned this was Darren,
Darren
who
Basmachan.
also isn't. Darren Basmachan, thank you. I pulled a Simon there. Who also isn't on camera.
No, that's only for you. That's only for you. James allowed to make a mistake.
But we spoke about that last week. The commission needed a different quarterback. It wasn't working out.
I think it's definitely the right fit. I mentioned in earlier on in the night the sort of West Coast offense of taking what the defense gives you and just like marching the ball methodically downfield through slants, hooks, ins, and Chris understands that a little bit more, I think, at this stage of the game than Alessandro does. He's the right fit for this core as well.
What does he bring that Alessandro Barazzoni couldn't bring other than vowels?
100 years of experience.
100 years.
Patience.
He's been around for the longest time.
Yeah, this isn't his first time quarterbacking an FPF team.
Well, and that's the thing. People bring in guys all the time assuming it's going to work right away.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys where it did work right away and it was an awesome experiment is Norfolk and Chance Rocco Cristiano, but that's not common.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to Rocco this week and I said, dude, a lot of times guys bring in quarterbacks and it never works. It's working well with you. This was an example where it's a failed experiment so far.
I think that it also helps that Chris Olsen has been on some failed experiments as well, is that he now knows what works and what does not, even with teams he's not familiar with or comfortable with, and can adjust accordingly. He was successful on that Killer Bees team. There was like FTP and FTP 2.0. One of those teams was good, one was bad.
Hopefully the 2.0 was better because that means you're regressing otherwise.
It's weird.
So he has that understanding of how to work,
Um,
especially in this division.
Is AJ Gomez the best player in 4A?
Yes.
No.
Who's the best player in 4A?
Like all around best player
Yeah.
in 4A?
I mean,
Carmen Puliche.
I mean, and
Carmen Puliche.
Vinny Galano's in there too.
Yeah, considering how deep
So
the
you
pool
just said
is.
yes without thinking.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
he did.
Yes, I
he
did.
did say
Chapman's
yes
in
without
there.
thinking. So conceivably, the best player in Division 4 can play defense, receiver, and quarterback the best.
Give me
Well,
Vinny Galano then. Over
Carmen?
Puliche. Right now, yes.
But
Not like body work. I'm saying currently.
but he can't play quarterback in Division 4A.
We didn't say that's
Said
not the
best
question.
player.
We said best player.
Listen, I didn't write these
In
questions.
4A,
Yeah.
so
Don't-
he can't play quarterback.
Don't hate the Peeze. Hate the game.
I'm hating the Peeze.
Okay, but then by that,
AJ could play quarterback in 4A. These other guys could.
he's not the best
I
quarterback.
don't know if he's
for
good.
it,
I
though.
haven't seen him play quarterback, but he's a
I've seen him,
very.
he's all right.
I wasn't a big fan of
Okay,
AJ
so,
Gomez up till now. I
So
thought he
best
was overrated.
all-around player in 4A who's also eligible to play all the positions.
Yeah.
It's still not him. It's Danny Demore.
Yeah. I
Okay.
go with Danny
I could
Demore.
see that.
That's
I
fair.
could see that.
And then maybe even below that, I would put Jeremy Anderson.
No, I think AJ Gomez is underrated. I seen
think
him.
I would say Jeremy Anderson's also underrated.
Yes, Jeremy. Yeah, I seen AJ
Jeremy
Gomez
Anderson's
play.
a legitimate Division 2 player.
Okay, so is AJ Gomez.
Yeah.
Have you seen
But
him
you
play with
put-
Clockwork this season?
Yeah.
You put Anderson and Gomes on the field 1-on-1 the entire game. Who's going to win that battle?
It depends.
Are
Are
they
the
playing
refs
man
letting
or zone the
They're
whole
playing
game?
man. They're playing man.
are the refs letting them play? Because if they're letting them play, give me Anderson. If they're throwing flies, give me Gomes.
There you go. That's a good one right there.
Oh.
And that's not even any disrespect to AJ Gomes. It's that this division is so deep as well.
It's also a ridiculous
But
question.
if you're asking who's the best,
There's no way for us to
receiver?
quantifiably mention it.
just straight instead of all-around player, who's the best receiver? Yes, it's AJ Gomes.
Yeah.
Adil Jazz says Jakub Telemac.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
very
say he's the
4B,
best quarterback.
but yes.
But definitely defender receiver.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's in the
very
conversation, absolutely. And
He
he's like
has great lateral yardage.
Yeah.
according-
but I would say Jakub Telemac definitely defensively. He's kind of like that AG Gomes where maybe he's not the best three-way player, but on defense is definitely in the
Yes.
conversation. Mountain Lions 4-0. Are they for real? Mokan asks.
So by
These
that
are worse questions than we're
by that
getting all week
question,
during Super Bowl week, by the way.
he's referring to their easy schedule so far.
Mm-hmm.
But
Tell me who they had, Simon.
This
Tell me who
team,
they had, Eagle.
LOB.
LOB.
yeah, so that's an easy one.
Yep.
I did the research the other way around. I looked up at who they're playing next.
Mhm.
So their 6 next opponents are Backyard Bullies, Sits, Top Secret, Friends Low Places, Keyboard Lock, and Show Me TDs. It's not the easiest back-end schedule.
But none of those teams are particularly playing well either.
No, but they're not bad.
No,
neither.
they're
Like,
good teams though. They're
So, are they for real? I'd say yes, because they are 4-0. Like, they did win all their games.
and they're physically real people.
Yes, also.
Yeah.
But I think the reality check will come in a few weeks when they play all these.
So they're
On
not
the
for real
bubble
because the
teams?
reality check implies that they're not for real.
No, they might be living a dream.
They're currently
That makes it not
they're
for real.
currently for real.
They're currently for real.
If you're living a dream,
But
that
then-
means you're a real person and you're living dreams.
But the person in the dream isn't real.
Or you're a dog, because dog can dream.
I had a dream that I was in a intramural soccer game
No
where
one cares.
Steve Carell was coaching.
No one cares.
It was terrible.
No one
That
cares.
sounds
About your, no
amazing.
one cares about your dreams. No one cares about your fantasy football team.
Yes, fair.
Wow. Wow, okay.
It's true.
That got
though.
real
He's right,
fast.
though.
Look,
Or is it not real?
dreams are like photographs. Like, if you're not in them or no one's naked, like, I'm not interested.
But Steve Carell was naked.
Wow.
That's what I was getting to.
I want in that soccer team.
Do you trust Jamie Rosenberg to win duels with the top quarterbacks in the division? But again, actual duels.
Sample size
With swords?
Like fencing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sample size right now is not enough, but I would lean towards no. Right now, when I think of the top quarterbacks in the division, Jesse Dupuis, Shea Harbour, Danny Demore, going like score for score, marching down the field, getting completions, avoiding turnovers. I don't think he's quite there yet.
In 3 games, he has 12 touchdowns for 2 interceptions, 53.1% completion passage, 108.3 quarterback rating.
See, like, with those numbers, I would say yes. He has the weapons to go up against any top Division 4 teams.
But he's completing 1 out of every 2 passes.
But that's good enough.
Good enough is not the top of the division.
But can he duel these guys? Yes.
And lose.
If
Okay,
it's
so
an-
the answer will always be: can he duel against them? Yes.
Yes, 'cause it's a
but
free
can
country.
he win?
It's a free country.
I think it's possible. And in an actual duel, give me Jimmy Lee Janvier instead. He looks like a mean fencer.
Yes.
He does. Like he looks like he'd wear the outfit well.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
can see him with the glove and...
yeah. He's got form. He's got form. How underrated is Zach Goldstein? 7. Go. Thanks, Mo, for that terrible question.
And even on that question, I didn't answer yes or no. My notes on this script are D2 player, comma, Coyotes champion. So he's been on a championship roster and he's played in Division 2.
What's his rating? Let's quantify how underrated he is. Let's put a number to it.
72.7 on offense, 74.6 on defense, and 67.4 on quarterback.
So I
and
said-
the median rating for Division 4 is 77? 75?
That's on
I
fire.
don't know, GM. I gotta crush those numbers.
So I said 7. So that makes him roughly an 80-80 player. So do you think he's an 80-80 player?
Yes,
Underrated.
which makes him underrated. There we
Underrated.
go.
We've quantified it.
Boom.
We solved the dumbest sports question that gets asked all the time. Give me that. For division-
Kidnappers, if you're listening to this show, the ransom money value for Mo should be going down as you see this script progress.
Yeah, we're liking him less and less. The Division 4B, the best in Division 4B, the best 3-1 team is it Norfolk and Chance, Be Ready, Martin Le Flag, or Le Red Tiger?
I rated them in order of my bias and opinion.
Right. That's all we can ask for,
yeah,
yeah.
I
Bias
have-
and opinions.
I have Norfolk and Chance because I like them and they're my boys. I'm taking a page out of Mocon's book here.
Fair.
The Red Tiger next.
Okay.
Due to the experience on that team. Be Ready. They have the game breakers on this team to sort of... They have the ability, but they're not there. And Martin Leflag, again, small sample size. Not really sure, but I wouldn't put them...
I like them though, man. I like Martin Le Flag. They're fun. They're fun to watch. I don't know how to rank them, but I'm gonna put Norfolk and Chance last. Like, give them 7th. You?
Because you got called out by Kevin Cousset, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's,
I got Martin and the flag first. I really like what they're doing. Second, I'd say Norfolk and Chance. They lost to Be Ready because their quarterback wasn't there.
Okay.
They lost by a handful of points. Then I have the Red Tiger and Be Ready last. Be Ready last did add Michael Roy recently.
Mm-hmm.
And in Division 4B as a receiver, he's going to be a monster.
We talked
I
to
saw part of that game. He missed some like wide open catches, or
Possibly.
at least one.
But he's going to be good enough.
we
He's talented.
we talked to Dilly Jazz earlier, or he talked to us rather, and we spoke about Jakub Telemak. Would you take A squad and put them in the ranks of these teams?
So in my rank, where I put Norfolk and Chance as 1st
Mhm.
of these 4, I would put A squad second.
Same. I put the A squad second behind Martin Flag.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That's a little underwhelming, but I mean, Mokon's like one of the best teams in the division. Are they one of the best teams in the division? Yeah.
I guess
So,
they're one of the best teams in the regular season.
yeah.
Ooh, shot fired.
It's
But I mean, it's still the regular season.
Yeah,
Yes.
do things otherwise,
Yeah,
right?
like-
Like just because they don't have previous playoff success doesn't mean that they won't eventually have it. But
Yeah.
based on what you've given us, you're not a successful postseason team.
Why are all hooks underachieving?
They're not underachieving. They moved up divisions, and they're just not 4-0. What do you mean, Mokan?
No, I'm saying this now.
Okay.
Mokan said it, but I mean it.
Okay, what do you mean?
'Cause I thought they were gonna come in and do well
I
right
read
away.
ahead in the script. I'm waiting
What?
for that next
Oh
one.
man, don't do that. You can't do that. It
No.
ruins the
So
show.
the follow up to this.
Oh no, but so I'll do this and stall before I look at the next question. But
Okay.
I thought they'd come in and be very competitive. I thought like
Okay.
3-1 start.
So
Now read the next question.
But why have they tripped from out of the gates? They lost to Red Tiger.
Where did you get the they from that question?
Oh, because I tried to make it correct. Why have tripped out of the gates?
no, YF tripped out from the gates.
I can't read it that way. I'm sorry.
Did we get Charlie Day to write our script?
So
I mean, just to break this down, they won their first game 40-27. Then 26-24 win over Lobster Dinner. Then they lost 30-19 to Sphinx, and then 30-25 to Le Red Tiger. So they're close games still.
So they do well against the bulk of the teams, but they've struggled against the top tier,
Mhm.
which is understandable for a team that has moved up
But
in the
so like
division.
when Mo says lost to Red Tiger, what's he implying other than the fact, or is it just he's listing a fact?
I think he's saying Red Tiger's not good and they've lost to a bad team. But
But
we
Red
just
Tiger's
discussed that
3-1.
Red Tiger.
we just
yes,
we just talked about them as being one of the best teams in the division.
Thank
He
you,
asked
Mo.
about how we thought how we ranked them as a top 4 team.
and then he's saying how they tripped.
You know, I hope
So-
you're enjoying your
so
Stockholm
why-
syndrome because you're not welcome back.
Also, Tomakutsu only has 2 games played, and he missed the game against the Red.
Thank you.
And he's a big
The Red
he's a big
Tiger.
piece of it,
Exactly.
He's
absolutely.
the rusher and he's a dominant rusher.
So why have they tripped from out of the gates? I think it has to do with the fact that they're not the best team in the division, and they're playing some of the best teams in the division.
Okay, fair.
What do they need to do to play up to the level of these top end teams?
I think they need to allow Charles Olivier Lavin to run more. Like,
Do you think they're physically restraining him?
I was just gonna say be better. So
be better?
I guess. Thanks for the analysis, GM. Get Thomas Couture to show up to games, drive him there,
That would help.
and stop forcing Seal Levine to not run. That's our analysis for how
No,
this
but
team could be better.
They do have roster inconsistencies. They have a bunch of guys with 1 or 2 games
Yeah.
played, which
Yeah.
obviously never helps.
Well, you never have your best roster in the field.
No.
And
But
it's hard to win games that way.
We've also seen Charles Olivier Lavin be one of those very talented mobile quarterbacks, and when we have him on film running 40-yard touchdowns. Yes, I said that right. You looked at me wrong.
No, I was reading the script.
But the last 2 games I saw from all looks, he wasn't moving in the pocket. He was being a pocket passer, which is not what he does best. So allow him to.
I'm
more
sorry.
versatile.
I just figured it out. I realized why these questions don't really make sense, but we're making sense of them. Is I guess because Mokan doesn't like looking at the script. He writes like fragments of sentences so that if he looks down quickly and then looks back up, he can kind of make sense of what the sentence
Because
is.
well, that's in the shows. He never reads the questions as they are in the script,
exactly.
so we make fun of him a lot less.
Yeah, I was just thinking like because when you read that last question, you read it properly, and then I realized that's because you're not reading the question.
Yeah.
So I think
also
that
can't
it's-
read, yeah.
It's it has to do with just like a quick glance. Like at a quick glance, the sentence makes sense, but you'll make it into your own.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Thank you, Mo. We don't need you.
Their next 6 games, by the way: Grinders, Game Changers, LV, No Name, Small Giants, and Lee Stud.
That's not fun. That's not a
No,
fun
it's not
schedule.
bad though.
It's not great.
Les Stud's going to be a great game. All
Yes.
looks Les Stud.
Where Samuel Cannon will likely underperform.
Likely, from what I
Because
heard.
why not? I'm all about starting rivalries this season.
This week, you're all
I've
about
been
rivals.
too nice, I guess, and people like me now, and I don't know how
When
to
have
handle
you
that.
ever been nice?
Recently, fall season. That was the one time.
Possibly.
Going back to our conversation of best player in Div 4, JF Marquis says Alexander Samson.
Yeah, I can see that.
Defensively,
Honestly, but man, like if you take that original Trinity roster and like the high end of those players, they're all guys who can easily compete in Division 3. So I don't mind saying any of them are up there. You know what I mean? Whether it was Alexandre Joubéville, whether it was the two brothers whose name I forgot because that's the thing I do now.
Marquis?
No, the other ones. Well, Vincent Marquis as well, but the two other brothers, Dansereau Leclerc, Benjamin Lantereau and Antoine Dansereau Leclerc. Like Antoine Dansereau Leclerc had like a legitimate impact in Division 1 or Division A in a sense.
best team.
Yeah, with the best team in FPF history.
I think though that just like of the names we mentioned as well, and like we referred back to it. Like I wrote them down. Like I wrote Carm and I wrote Jeremy. But even when we just discussed like AJ Gomes, like I still think AJ Gomes like is a better player than.
Perhaps, but again, I would give Samson the edge on defense. So it's similar. It's a similar case. Like I don't think either of them are good representatives of like a really top end 3-way player. The way Vinny Galano was when he was in Division 4. You know, so
He still is.
well, he said it was your rule that you couldn't throw it. I can't.
You can.
Team of the week. We're doing a spotlight on Truth Squad apparently.
Okay.
Alex Benoit for 16 TDs, 4 interceptions, 4-1 TD to
Not
INT ratio. That's amazing. That's
Not
what
bad.
you that's basically what you want, right? That's what you look
Yep.
for in a quarterback in FPF. 8 players with at least 8 touchdown reception. Can you name 4 players on this roster? Go.
Yes. You want me to name 4 players?
Yes.
So they have 3 guys that used to play for A Squad: Andrew Philippot, Guillaume Coulombe-Delille, and William Gagnon, who all were on A Squad last winter. And one guy from Jean Coutu, Tristan Toussaint, who was an absolute beast last season.
They beat A Squad 21-0 this week.
Yeah, 21-0. That's impressive.
That is.
I think the True Squad is much better than people give him credit for. They have a lot of guys that never played FPF before, so it's tough for us to really come out and say, "Oh, these guys are very talented."
But that's the
But
mistake we
just by
make.
sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Just by that discussion that we had earlier of the top teams in 4B, and we included A Squad on that list. And if Truth Squad have outdone them, maybe they will be in talks for the top teams in 4B as we go on.
That's fair.
So look at the stats defensively for Truth Squad. They have 10 picks in 4 games, 7 sacks, and 10 PDs. So if I was Mokan, which I'm not, I would call them the real no-fly zone. See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah. Thank you.
The real no-fly zone?
Yeah, I don't know. As opposed to the fake no fly.
Well, there was a
As
no-fly
opposed to
zone
an
before.
area that has lots of flies.
No, there was a no-fly
And-
zone before in FPF,
Yeah.
and they're no longer called that way.
But
So the team that is not no fly zone is
So
the real no fly
so
zone.
no-fly zone 2.0.
And the one that was is a
Well,
fake
because
one?
if you call yourself the same, it's like Los Mentiros. You can't just steal somebody else's name, right?
Apparently you can.
but you're the one who gave them that name.
Yeah, like
Yes, but they
And I still think that the original no-fly zone had a better defense.
okay, possibly. I think
Probably,
these guys are better.
unless they win unless Truth Squad win in Division C.
What
no-fly
if-
zone had a better defense.
what if they're very careful with their groceries and they're no flies zone? So
You need to-
I gotta move for that one. Are you putting them in the wait and see category?
That's not the
of
question.
whether we'll wait and see if they'll be good or are they the real deal now is what
Yeah.
Mo was asking.
I think they're legit.
Look, the thing is, the mistake we all make with media is we take the names that are most familiar and we assume that they're better than players we don't know.
It's confirmation bias.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think True Squad is the team that happens in every division, every season that says, hey, no, that's not the way it works necessarily. We're here. We can definitely make an impact right away, and that's what we're seeing with True Squad.
Also, for these teams specifically, we like talking about teams as a whole. We're comfortable talking about teams that we know and teams that we see. If you want us to talk about you more, write to us. Ask us to come see your games. Talk about your teams. We would love that information.
I know personally, I answer everyone who writes to me. Everyone, absolutely. Even
For sure.
and this is like to the credit of guys I've even had beef with in past seasons, they've actually came out and said, no, if you have, like, Peeze and I had a head-to-head, but believe me, he reached out to me and talked to me, and other guys who have actually reached out to me, I will answer absolutely all your messages, because we're here to learn. I'm not here for confirmation bias. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time, but like, you need to be a crazy person to see something, or Simo, to see something that you disagree with, and to be clearly wrong about it and not change your opinion. It's okay. It's all right to change your opinion when you have more knowledge. So I'm glad to do that.
I feel like this is an insight into the behind-the-scenes conversations we have.
Yeah, it's getting dangerously close to all that argument. But they lost the blue chips. But Mo asks if their game versus Le Stade will tell us who is the real deal with these two teams.
But what two teams?
The True Squad and Le Stade.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
He's saying is the perception is blue chips are one of the top teams, but if you move that game aside and don't talk about blue chips in this conversation, are True Squad the real deal? Will we know this after they play Les Studs?
I mean, they already lost blue chips, which is an indication. But I mean, it's also either one is a 1-game sample size. So let's say they lose the game, unless they get completely blown out, which I don't think they will. Do you think that means that they can't win the future matchup? Like, if they lose the game, like, I don't know, like 30-24.
Well,
What information does that really give us in a 1-game sample size?
Yeah, even if it's against the same team.
Yeah.
Like, just because they lost against blue chips once doesn't necessarily.
In fact, a team that's new may be like, oh, that's what they do, and now we have more information and we can approach it differently the second time.
Yeah.
So I don't think either necessarily means a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. How many wins do you think they'll end up with?
I'd say 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
Like, I could see them really running tables from now on.
They have Les Studs, True Squad, Grinders, Lobster Dinner, Game
play
Changers, and Small
themselves.
Giants.
They play themselves?
Look how confused he is.
I'm more confused.
Studs, Manglers, Grinders, Lobster
Manglers.
Dinner, Game Changers,
That's
Small
good.
Giants.
That's a pretty good schedule.
6-4.
Yeah, easily. If not 7-3.
And they've shut out the last 2 teams they've played.
Yeah, I'm interested. Color me interested. What color is interested? I'm colorblind.
Red.
I can't really help you with that. Jim, you had something you wanted to touch on.
I'm still trying to understand how red is interested. I'm reading into that. Maybe I read into that too much.
Nice. He read into that. So. Do you have a thing you want to talk about it? You want to let it go?
Games of the week. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this was a spot for our sort of rant or rant-esque discussion. This doesn't really have to do with Division 4, although this player does play in Division 4, but this happened in Division 3. I was at Hebert last night. I was playing when it happened, but Vinny Golano and Steve Steiner collided.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to talk to that bench afterwards, and Steve Steiner was not in good shape. Steve Steiner had trouble remembering where he was, what happened, where his phone was. I saw him, unfortunately, check for his phone multiple times. After being told, "Hey, I think we think you left your phone in the car. We'll go check afterwards." And he was being told by his teammates, and he was sort of brushing it off at first. I think he eventually did get checked out, but just I don't need to get checked out. What are they going to tell me anyways? Guys, please, this is a rec league, number one, but head injuries and this will be my quota for the year on
public
swearing
service announcements.
and public service announcements and swearing on podcasts. Do not fuck around with head injuries. Go get checked out no matter what anyone else on the team tells you, no matter what you feel. If you have a head injury and you have concussion-esque symptoms, not even full-on concussion symptoms, please get checked out.
As someone who's had multiple concussions, I absolutely echo your statement.
Yeah.
And definitely, if you're gonna fuck around, use your sexual organs and not your head.
Yeah. We care for the safety of all our players. And even on a personal level, Steve Steiner is a great guy, and I wouldn't want to see anything happening to him if he did not go get checked out, and it ended up being worse than just he collided with someone and had a mild concussion.
And we've seen some players actually come play with protective gear on their heads. I'm thinking of Antonio Lani, the one specifically. After suffering a concussion, coming back into the league, he was like, "I'm going to slow my way in." So.
Nothing wrong with that.
So that it's not really a rant, but more a public service announcement of, please, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your teammates. We are the FPF, I guess, fraternity brotherhood. I don't know. take care of each other.
And Jadaridi says GM headbutts
Oh
his
my God.
teammates in the face for the record.
Yeah, I got checked out after that. But yeah, so Jadaridi and I in touch football collided. I broke his nose, and I got checked out after that incident. Jad got checked out. So
Really? Was she hot?
No, we checked out each other. So yeah, I practiced.
It wasn't bad.
It was alright.
I practiced what I preach. There you go. Thank you, Jad, for reminding Aren't you supposed to be playing softball right now?
That brings us to softball. It's February.
What is softball?
Indoors.
There's indoor softball?
Yeah.
How big is this facility? And
Not
also,
very.
is it at Janaridi's house?
Jad, if you're still, did you win? Did you play?
Can we tear down the software facility and build an FPF facility?
Yes.
I mean, are we allowed? No.
Probably
Is
not.
the
Let's just do it.
question. That brings us to.
Games of the week.
All right.
See how happy I am?
You are happy.
So starting off with 4B, again, there will not be an entirety of games played in week 5. So I have snippets from week 5 and week 6, and we will start with Lobster Dinner against Sphinx.
We're also going to get a prop bet on each of these games as well, just because, and we won't keep track of them because why?
Because we don't do that anyways.
So the prop bet here is, will John Brown complete 14 passes?
Yes.
Right.
Sphinx wins.
But you have a plus 500 though.
What?
That's the money line.
You will get more than 14 completions.
Right.
Is this like Mocon's made up spreads?
I'm making them up on the fly.
Okay.
I did.
Full cons you tell us.
Yes, Lobster Dinner will complete 14 passes, and I think Lobster Dinner will win this game.
Who are they playing against again?
Oh.
Sorry?
Sphinx.
Especially without Matthew Fafara, give me Lobster Dinner.
No name against Grabouge.
Will Garouge score 2 touchdowns this game? Prop bet.
No.
I'm also taking.
Yes, they will score 2
I'm taking the
touchdowns,
under.
and no, they will not win.
All right, and yeah, I would say Garouge will lose as well.
Grinders against All Hooks.
The members of All Hooks will get lap dances and get grinded on after the game, plus or minus 3 players.
Oh, that's a good prop. What day?
Minus are they underage? Like
I don't know.
I feel older now, so I can't really gauge the younger players of the league anymore.
Eagle, what day is this game at? Like, is it a Monday game or a Saturday game?
Eagle, are you with us? what day of the week is this game?
Wednesday.
Yeah, no.
It's a school night.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
If it was Saturday, I'd say over, but
You know what though?
On
I think they might be nuts.
on a Wednesday.
Give me the over. Give me the over.
So and then carrying over after the Super Bowl bye, LV against the Red Tiger in week 6.
Little Red Tiger, pets owned combined on the team. I'm putting the number at 4.5 over under.
Way
Pets
over.
owned.
You know it's a Vietnamese buffet, right?
Yeah, I'm asking about the team and their supplies for the restaurant. How many pets owned? 4.5.
Oh.
I'm going under. Give me LV.
Can you just like head away and just like have a full screen view of Simon right now?
I think this is the only time you can actually put it at exactly 4.5 because the half animal somehow ends up in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like a centaur. See, you saw one way. I saw a centaur as a chef. All right, so next game.
Past our prime against 39-cent wings.
Pastor Prime. I give you Pastor Prime and over under on grandchildren for Pastor Prime at 1. You don't know that, do you?
Under. I don't think so.
Legitimate or
Legitimate.
illegitimate?
I don't.
No, I'm saying is the child is the grandchild legitimate or illegitimate?
No, I'd say either way.
Under?
Yeah.
All right.
Under, unfortunately.
Then they're not truly Pastor Prime.
Also, the
Yep.
Pastor Prime are winning.
Yeah,
but
me
who
too.
wins this game? You
Pastor
said Pastor
Prime,
Prime. Okay. Team Ethnic against Norfolk and Chance.
Team Ethnic by 8 scores. And Norfolk and Chance putting the over under at 21 points. For points scored for Norfolk and Chance.
21 points.
Yeah. Will they score 21 points or less?
Oh, they'll score more than 21 points because they're winning.
They're going to lose by 8 scores, though, so it's not possible.
But even. But that would mean they would lose by like 60 something.
Yes.
Moving on. Division 4A. Only one game in week 5. Friends in Low Places against Top Secret.
Top Gun outgrossing or undergrossing the original Top Gun, the reboot.
It's
Which
top
one?
Secret.
Which one will make? I know. I asked you a different question. That's the side bet.
Okay.
This is about
They're
like
remaking
the
Top Gun?
They are.
Yeah.
They
I'd
are.
say outgrossing because it's easier now.
But you're spending more money.
Adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah,
not.
just for inflation, exactly.
Okay. If so, then not outgrossing.
Yeah, I think that Top Gun was the like original summer blockbuster
Yeah,
ever. Right?
exactly.
Also, Top Secret's winning this game.
I say Top Secret as well, and original Top Gun.
Top Secret are gonna beat Friends in Little Places.
I think so.
Yes, sir,
You
Miller.
guys serious?
Yep.
Remember we talked about this, right?
Cool.
Okay. Remember we talked about this.
I won't.
Okay. Mountain Lions against Backyard Bullies.
Over under the amount of lion documentaries that have been watched by Marc-Antoine Vien, I'm setting it at 3.
Can we? Who's gonna win this game?
Montagnard.
I didn't.
Oh, it's
mention-
I understand. I understand. I thought it was
Thank
Montagnard.
you. Mountain Lions
Okay, against
against Backyard Bullies.
Backyard Bullies.
I'm going Mountain Lions.
But how many documentaries for a team that's not related?
I was very confused at first, but when I got it backwards, you meant Montagnard.
Yeah.
It could have worked, but I'll just
3 plus minus.
I'll just toss it away. That's
3 plus
under.
minus under, right?
Show me your TDs against Jaegerbomb.
I'm going Jaegerbomb.
Same.
They have a terrible record against Jaegerbomb.
Same.
And Montagnard
There you
against the Alpha T's.
Over under players with French names playing in this game. I'm setting the number at 10.
Over.
Just as if we
Over because it's 6-on-6.
give me just Sweet and Alpha T's.
Yeah, same.
And I think that's that.
Thank you, Eagle. Thank you, Simon and GM. For,
Thank you,
their work.
those of you who wrote into this show.
Absolutely.
Jadaridi says, lost in the finals last week. Next season starts next week.
Yeah, but the finals in that league aren't really the finals. It's just the last week of the season, and they decide arbitrarily who wins.
That sounds terrible.
But it's like it's weird, but it's fun.
Is this like one of those new schools where, like, if you pass, you get a sheep?
That is exactly what it is. Yeah, I got an Elvis in math.
Oh, wow, that's very good, actually. Congratulations.
I was all shook up.
Apparently. I'm going to Nashville this summer. So that's excitable. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for those who tweeted in. Thank you for those who watched. But most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself. Although it's usually terrible, especially on side.
Good night, song.
Side bets really don't work. I thought it was better in my head. Maybe you should.
We need
apply
Mo
that.
back real fast.